So my name is Tony Whalen. I'm the president of the New Brunswick Producers Association, or Media New Brunswick. And I want to welcome you all here today to the summit. We've got a lot planned, a lot of panel discussions, keynotes, roundtable discussions, all around this great industry. And I would like to first off thank our generous contributors to this event, which was Telefilm Canada, as well as the province of New Brunswick. Without their support, this event would not have been possible. You'll also notice there is a translation booth at the back. So we do have simultaneous translation available today. We're going to start off with sort of a keynote discussion with John Huston. He was recently involved in producing Copperhead, which was a feature film set here in King's Landing, just outside Fredericton, starring Billy Campbell. And it was shot this summer. Oddly enough, I have his birth date in my bio here, but I'm not sure if John was born in 1954 and spent the first years of his life in the Canadian Arctic in Cape Dorset on Baffin Island. And his early involvement in Inuit culture has affected his entire life. And while attending schools in England, Ottawa, and later Pickering College in Ontario, continued to think of the north of his home and visited during several summers to spend time on the land with his Inuit friends. Now, on a summer break from college, he took his first job in filmmaking as a coffee boy on the 1973 Paramount Pictures production White Dawn, the first novel by his father, James A. Huston. John also worked on Never Cry Wolf, a Disney production in 1981, with Carol Ballard as first assistant director. Many films followed throughout the world, from Singapore to Siberia, including rejoining Ballard to film Fly Away Home, which was Columbia Pictures in 1996. As I mentioned already, he recently co-produced Copperhead, and is currently a Senior Directors Guild of Canada member, National Directors Division Board member. He's also a founding member of DGC Atlantic Regional Council and founding member and past president, and I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, but of the Ajit Nunavut Media Association, which is a non-profit group advocating the growth of film, television, and digital media industry for Nunavut and representing all of its stakeholders. So I guess much the same as Media New Brunswick, the same type of organization in Nunavut. So,
Hey everybody, is that the sound? And thanks very much, Tony, for that intro. So, I'm glad that you mentioned the Arctic part, and I was just thinking in terms of, it's a very interesting thing. I mean, I'm very honored, pleased to have been welcomed back here. I have friends here in this room. Drove up with my, I have to learn to say fiance. I always said partner, but my fiance Lee Ryan is here with me as well, and she's similarly very glad to come back and see people again whom we know and really came to like during the whole process of making the Copperhead here. But in addition to that, just mentioning the Arctic connection, I just thought it's a very funny thing to come in from another jurisdiction, and I'm here, been invited to, thanks so much, invited to give the keynote, and I had to think about this long and hard when Tony called me up. I'm just thinking, it can be a funny thing, someone comes, sort of parachutes in from another jurisdiction, and what's the idea? They're going to tell you how to run your affairs, tell you all the good things to do, or something like that. And I know that during my time in Nunavut, what's now Nunavut, that there were always experts coming in and would say, like, here's how you do it, and the local people weren't always, that receptive to that. It was kind of like, well, we know a few things here. When you think of, for example, the New Brunswick Filmmakers Co-op, I see Tony sitting there, and I saw Kat a little bit earlier. And of course, lots has been going on here for a lot of years, and there's a lot of the pieces of the puzzle are already here and working well. So I reached back to an Arctic model. There's one of the principles of Inuit traditional knowledge is called I don't expect you all to be able to spell this, but it's called Hanukto Hatigino. And Hanukto Hatigino means, Hanukto is when you say, how on earth? Like, how on earth am I going to do this? Or how on earth am I going to do that? And one of the principles of their philosophy is Hanukto Hatigino, which means you all gather together, and together you say, how on earth? Like, how on earth are we going to do this? So it's actually brainstorming, like creative brainstorming. And when you're doing creative brainstorming, you can welcome people who might be from another jurisdiction or whatever. They might have a different point of view. And together you work on coming up with solutions and moving forward. So in that kind of spirit of like brainstorming and sharing, I'm very glad to be here. And we'll, share some ideas. And if any of them are any good for you, use them. And if they aren't, check them out.